Hello everyone, this is William Armstrong here with a basic video from Ars Technica about why you should never plug unknown USB drives into your computer. But in this matter, a journalist plugs in unknown USB drive melted to him and exploded in his face. This article was published by Sharon Harding at March 22nd, 2023 at 6:35 p.m. So I'm going to read it. It's no secret that USB flash drives, as small and unremarkable as they may look, can be turned into agents of chaos. Over the years, we've seen them used to infiltrate an Iranian nuclear facility, infect critical control systems in U.S. power plants, morph into programmable undetectable attack platforms, and destroy attached computers with a surprise 220-volt electrical surge. Although these are a few examples, they should be enough to preclude one from inserting a mysterious, unsolicited USB drive mailed them into a computer. Unfortunately, one Ecuadorian journalist didn't get the memos. Oops! As reported by the Agence France Presse via CBS News on Tuesday, 5 Ecuadorian journalists have received USB drives in the mail from Quinn Saloma. Each of the USB sticks was meant to explode when activated. Upon receiving the drive, Lynn Arteta of the Ecuavisa TV station in Guayaquil inserted to his computer, at which point it exploded, according to police officials who spoke with AFP. The journalist suffered mild hand and face injuries, but no one else was harmed. According to the police officer Xavier Shango, the flash drive that went off had a 5-volt explosive charge and is thought to have used RDX, also known as T4, according to Environmental Protection Agency (PDF). Militaries, including the U.S.'s, use RDX, which can be used as a lone base charge toward detonators and mix with other explosives such as TNT. Chango said it comes in a capsules measuring about 1 centimeter, but only half of it was activated in the drive that Arteta plugged in, which likely have saved him some harm. On Monday, Fundamedios, an Ecuadorian nonprofit focused on media rights, put out a statement on the incidents, which saw letters accompanied by USB stick bombs sent to 2 more journalists in Guayaquil and 2 journalists in Ecuador's capital. Fundamedios said Alvaro Rosero, who works at the Exa FM radio station, also received an envelope with a flash drive on March 15. He gave it to a producer who used a cable with an adapter connected to the computer. The radio station got lucky, though, as the flash drive didn't explode. Police determined that the flash drive had featured explosives, but believe it didn't explode because the adapter the producer used didn't have enough juice to activate it, Fundamedios said. Yet another reporter attempted to access the drive's unknown content. Milton Perez at Amazonas Quito offices might have set off the USB 6 explosives if he had plugged into the computer properly, according to Fundamedios. Police intercepted a sports drive sent to Carlos Vera in Guayaquil and performed a controlled detonation on one sent to Mauricio Aora at TC Television, also in Guayaquil, BBC reported. What's driving these attacks? Ecuador Interior Minister Juana Zapata confirmed all 5 cases used the same type of USB device and said the incident sent an absolutely clear message to silence journalists per AFP. Fundamedios has attempted to shed some light on the motive for the exploding drives, but information seems limited as the investigation of a terrorist act by the Ecuadorian government is ongoing. The advocacy group said the drive that exploded came with a letter threatening Arteta, while the letter accompanying the USB drive sent to TC Television came with a message against an unspecified political group. A message accompanying the threatened drive sent to Perez in Quito had a message claiming part per Google translation of the Fundamedios release. This information will unmask Chorismo. If you think it's useful, we can come to an agreement and I'll send you the second part. I communicate with you. Chorismo is an Ecuadorian political movement named after former President Rafael Correa, who was Ecuador's president from 2007 until 2017. In a statement cited by the BBC, the Ecuadorian government said any attempt to intimidate journalism and freedom of expression is a loathsome action that should be punished with all the rigor of justice. Publications covering these events have pointed out that Ecuador has seen an uptick in crime in the past few years that President Guillermo Lasso has attributed to drug trafficking, but the true motives behind the recently sent USB weapons are unknown. AFP noted that other recent violence around Ecuadorian media stations, including a shooting at the RTS TV station, where an alleged shooter reportedly left behind a pamphlet signed by a Mexican cartel and threatened a newspaper director. In 2020, there was reportedly a bomb explosion at Teleamazonas, which also received an RDX-laced USB drives this month. But no matter who's behind the dangerous attacks on journalists, these unsettling tales should serve as an umpteenth reminder that just like you shouldn't click on random links messaged to you, open unknown attachments, or download suspicious files, you shouldn't stick unknown USB drives, especially ones randomly mailed to you, into anything. In the case of some of these reporters, the thought of a hot scoop may have been enticing, but opening an unverified devices or data carries a great deal of there's a spelling error, something of risk. Having that said, this doesn't go without saying, but clicking on attachments in emails or clicking on random links, that's a bad idea. Just like you should never insert unknown USB sticks into your computer, or you should never download suspicious files. You certainly should never, I repeat, you should never stick unknown USB drives into your computer, because some of those USB drives could contain malware or inappropriate things, or some may even be the USB killer device that takes 220 volts and sends 220 volts down the USB lines back into your computer, permanently frying the computer itself. There are examples online of people taking the USB killer that takes 220 volts charge from the 5-volt rail of the USB power line in your computer, and it charges up capacitors that zap 220 volts back on the same USB 5-volt rail back into your computer, destroying it. So that's all I have to say, but this just go without saying. If someone drops a USB flash drive, do not pick it up and put it into your computer, because it's a bad idea. In this case, this journalist plugs in the USB stick and finds out the hard way that it's an explosive USB stick that blew up, injuring the journalist and or mailed to a journalist in Guayaquil that got injured in Ecuador. So this is William Armstrong signing out. See you next time. Bye-bye. And don't stick USB drives into computers that you don't know where they came from or who they're from. Same goes, don't go clicking on links in emails, or don't go clicking on links and messages sent to you. Don't go downloading suspicious files. None of that. Goodbye.